I'm so sick of this weekend. I don't even want to hear it.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to This Takes the Cake for episode number 2 of our New York City series. We are here with Darren of On the Move Entertainment, and we are so excited to have you.
Thank you for having me. Great to be here.
Thanks for letting us raid your space today, guys. We're in the most amazing space, the Supper Club. Can you tell us a little bit about where we are before we get started?
This is our headquarters. We're here in Nomad in New York City, and this is what we call our cabaret. It's our own private music venue that we put shows on just for our clients, and obviously our own little shows for ourselves, like rehearsals. But yeah, it's built for our clients. Yep.
Well, we're so excited to be here. Darren works the most amazing details into his work, and we're so excited to learn more about what you do and what On the Move does that our listeners may not know about. Can you talk to us a little bit about the story behind finding On the Move Entertainment in 1993 and what inspired you to really create this company?
Yeah, sure. You know, I was in college and DJing and emceeing and working parties just as a kind of a side gig. And when I graduated from school, went to Michigan, go Blue. It was really a choice of doing what everybody else does, like going to be a lawyer or finance or blah, blah, blah. And that was just not me. So I jumped into music, and On the Move was started. So that's, 32 years ago already.
Oh, my goodness. That's so crazy.
I know.
How have things changed since you started?
My God. I mean, when we started, there was probably a lot more faith of, you do a job, people call you. Now I think there's so much more to content, even like what we're doing now with podcasts. But really, when it comes to people interviewing you and choosing you for their wedding, let's just say they got to see video, they want to see your past events. So you really have to document more of what you do than ever before. And I think that's something that we've done really, really well is our content. And so when people see real work that we've done, it usually, greases the wheels a little bit more than usual.
I think that goes across the board for all wedding vendors. They want to see you doing the work, whether or not it's just seeing the final product or seeing the steps that go into the final product, the behind the scenes. Like that's what everyone wants to see. So I think we're finding ourselves also trying to capture more behind the scenes stuff to be able to showcase what we do in a day, because a lot of times our brides or our grooms or our couples, they don't necessarily see what we do leading up to the time that they see the space. So I think that's a kind of across the board thing that's changing these days.
And you can't fake it because social media will call out all the lies.
Yep.
And you have to have proof, and social media is the proof.
Yep.
Yeah.
100%. What sets you guys apart from other vendors in the industry, and kind of, can you tell us a little bit about what you specialize in and what you offer and that kind of stuff?
Yeah. I mean, I think for us, being in the entertainment world, all comes down to talent. I mean, I think we're just so blessed with the artists that are part of our inner circle are amazing people. They love what they do. And I've seen this before where, there's people that just come for a paycheck, or they're in the wedding business as a stepping stone to something else.
Right.
And this is not true for us. So our inner core circle of artists, I think, are the best of the best. And like our bands are like an all-star band, with every single person in that band being an all-star, where maybe other bands might have one incredible performer and then the rest are kind of fillers.
Right.
That ain't the case. So, yeah.
Tell us a little bit about the variety of bands that you have, whether it's the small groups or like full-scale orchestras.
Yeah, so I mean, that's, I think, one of our signature things is our small ensembles. My partner and senior music director, Gabe Otero, he is the sort of the brainchild behind so many of our smaller groups. We come up with, I think it's really based on demand too.
Right.
When someone says to us, hey, do you have a great Latin group? Hey, do you have Irish steppers? Hey, do you have that? I mean, so it ends up being supply and demand. And then when we see a demand, we build it from scratch with our own artists. And I think that's the variety that we have is bananas. I don't think there's anyone else in the New York market that has the variety of groups that we have.
Can you talk about the couple different varieties that you have? So, tell us a little about your, top most requested bands or give us an example of like the biggest group you ever did.
Well, look, I think there's the staples, right, which are our dance bands that do weddings every weekend. They do, galas and corporate events during the week. So we have T&M, the new millennials, T&M and Sold Out. and the collective are our main bands, and they're all scalable in size. So they'll go out as 8 pieces and they go out as full orchestras, which we've done up to like 36 pieces, which is glorious, So some of those, and that's some of my favorite work to do. So when we're doing full live orchestras, especially with newer music that you hear for, contemporary stuff, it's amazing. So, but then there's the smaller groups that are super, super unique that answer a niche. Like one of my favorite groups we have going out quite a bit is called the Nomadics. And the Nomadics were born out of the fact that we kept having planners asking us if we had a group like these other groups that I'm not going to plug, but like these other groups that are mostly European based, like south of France, in Italy, that are these charming group of guys that are strolling, walking musicians that almost serenade their guests, very, very beach-like. And so the Nomadics are that. About 3 years ago, we filmed a demo. We, scored all the music, and they're probably one of our biggest groups after that.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Do you find them performing mostly during cocktails or throughout the whole night?
Yeah, there's a lot. I mean, they do a lot of greeting arrivals. There's an event tomorrow night with them that they're doing at Radio Park, in Rock Center. So where it's a full event, they're playing, probably three different sets. But yeah, I like them as more of a specialized approach during an event where we can do layers of entertainment.
Right.
Where they can be one of the layers, and that is one of my philosophies of what we do different with parties and music in particular is figuring out how many cool layers we can put into an event.
Let's talk about that more. I want to know more about these layers.
It's going to be my book that I've been writing for 22 years.
I can't wait to read it. When a client comes to you for a wedding, let's say, how do you even start talking about these layers? And if they come to you saying, I love music, I love entertainment, I don't even know where to begin, how do you go about making recommendations for the different parts?
We're scripting a story, and that's really what our job is when we meet with every client, and we really do this, is we're trying to pull information from them. We're trying to help them along the way script what that story is. What's the beginning? What's the middle? What's the end?
Right.
What are the little nuances that happen in between? And when we can tell that story that is a musical story but reflects who they are, it starts to really make every single performance that we do very personal. And I think that is one of the game-changing differences between what we do and what a lot of other people do. That takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of conversations with our clients, meetings in the cabaret, bottles of tequila.
They have to be comfortable. And you're not just giving them a website saying, pick your band and let's sign a contract.
Right. Here's a song list. Tell us what you like. No.
Right.
I mean, we do have that, but no, we want to dive in as far as they want to go. What we don't want to do is make it like a chore. We want to make it fun. So as long as they're into music and want to have that experience, we're going to get them to blossom. We're going to get them to open up. And then we're going to translate that to how that script goes for the evening.
Right. And that process allows you to determine which band is the right band for them and what other additions you can bring in to create the entire story of the night.
Yeah. And even, so there's the band type, there's the music type, there's the look. Because the visual part of what we do as entertainers is so super, super important. So our wardrobe department, styling, everything that goes into the finer points of that performance is all reflection of the client and their story. So that's all part of the process.
How many different outfits do you guys have?
You know something? If you asked me 30 years ago if I would ever be a part of a wardrobe owning company, we have multiple storage spaces and warehouses. We have a full team of seamstresses. We have, and I could take it back there, and then we have
Peyton and I already have a little peek back there.
That's just this week's stuff that's out for this week's events, so that we bring in from storage every week. But it's intense, and I never thought. So we send for every one of our clients that book us, even just for weddings, right? We'll send them a lookbook that's got maybe 40, 50 pages in this lookbook of styling guides just of what's available.
Wow.
And then we have clients that do completely custom.
Right.
Which is things that have never been done before that are literally being designed and built just for their own, one-offs.
And you have all of that in-house to be able to do that?
Yeah, all in-house, yeah.
That's amazing.
It's pretty cool.
Can you share an experience where maybe it was the custom attire that really elevated to the next level?
Sure.
Where, entertainment truly brought everything that was happening to even a higher level than it was already?
Yeah, I mean, there's a great example. Just about a year ago, we did an amazing wedding in Cairo in Egypt. This was the wedding of the weddings last year. It was in all the magazines. And this one was pretty spectacular. But I think the game-changing difference of how we achieved success on that one was all about the wardrobe. the styling. It was all custom. Every single outfit and we had about 34 entertainers that traveled to this event. And it was pretty intense. And Rocky, shout out to Rocky.
We love Rocky.
She runs that side of On the Move, and let me tell you, she is killing it. So that Egypt party had 4 nights of events.
Wow.
And so even though we had 34 entertainers that were all part of those different segments over 4 nights, there was, I don't even know, I'd probably have to do the math, there were probably 20-something different looks throughout those 4 days. So when we travel, we ship some things, but we also have suitcases that we go with. And I think there was something like 30 or 40 extra suitcases that each of the entertainers plus our staff brought.
Oh my God.
We looked like we were just robbed a bank when we got to the airport. What are you doing?
I'm sure customs asked a lot of questions. What point in wedding planning process should our couples, come find you and talk to you about, what their vision for entertainment is?
I think the answer is as soon as they book their venue, right? I mean, I can give a kind of a 12 to 18 month, timeline, but it's not always about the timing,
Right.
because sometimes there are people that are, 12 months out that aren't quite ready yet.
Right.
And I think having your date and your venue is going to be a must because we need to check availability with our artists. So even if someone has an idea of vague dates and they're giving us 3 or 4 different opportunities to look at dates, it still could change.
Right.
Plus dates sell out. So we're like, once you have that nailed, you got your venue and you got your date for sure, then we're usually next.
Do you think entertainment is like the second most important thing to book after the venue?
No, I think it's first.
Well, I mean, first being the venue,
yes.
second being entertainment.
No, second is liquor and the bar,
Ooh,
and then make sure there's a top shelf. Then
I agree.
entertainment.
But in
Yes.
New York,
Yes,
we're
no, it
lucky
is
that a lot of venues already have catering included and
right.
those top shelf.
And I got news for you. We've been doing this for 32 years, and we love our clients. The repeat business that we do with our clients is strong. And what does that mean? That means that a lot of our clients will book us first and then find their venue. So we're in a very unique position for a lot of dates throughout the year where we're helping our clients actually find their date and pick it around our availability of our bands because that's their number one priority to have what they had before.
That must be so meaningful.
It is. And, being that I've been doing this so long myself, I have legacy clients that I've done their entire family from early on with their kids and bar mitzvahs and then weddings and kids. And yeah, I'm old.
That must be like one of the weirdest feelings, but also the most special feelings because you've gotten to watch the family grow and develop and still be part of their lives versus a lot of entertainment companies are there one day, maybe a second day if there's like a sibling's wedding that they're playing.
Yeah.
But now you're getting to be part of every major milestone for these families.
And if you really think about it, and I'm not going to get too deep on you, but if you really think about it, they associate pure joy with what we do.
Yeah.
If we're providing music and entertainment for the most special days of their lives, like you said, milestones throughout the year. So if they're associating us with every one of those incredibly happy moments in their lives, they see us and it just brings joy. And that's a pretty powerful thing.
That's so powerful.
Right?
I didn't think of it like that.
Ooh,
Ooh,
write that one
I
down.
love that. Now, a lot of what we find with our couples is that they want some sort of combination of a DJ and a band and talk to me a little bit about this hybrid experience.
All right, so this is going to sound crazy, and I know you're probably going to be like, really? And you're going to test me, but ready? I'm going to say it. I invented it.
You're kidding.
No, I know. I really, really did. And believe me, if I had some kind of copyright or something that I would be sitting on a beach somewhere totally retired. But I'm going to give you the history of it.
Okay, can't wait.
Because I can prove it. So flash back to about 1992. I'm working in North Miami Beach, Florida. As a DJ, alongside some of these incredible Latin bands for these parties down there, and like quinceañeras, and there's these parties were outrageous, and some of these musicians would jam along with us as DJs, and we said, "This is the coolest thing I've ever seen." So I started on the moved back to New York in 1993 to build out a hybrid concept. So that was the first the industry ever saw of it, and now look, everyone and their mother does it, and rightfully so because it's freaking awesome. There is a little way we do it, I think, is different than everybody else. There is something, and this is part of my spiel that I give to everybody when they do come to us and they're asking for a hybrid. So our hybrid works because we edit the music that our DJs spin, meaning that we're creating space for the musicians and especially our singers to blend back in with those tracks. So when the DJ's spinning, the musicians are playing, the singers are singing, and it's seamless.
Right.
what most 99% of everybody else is out there is doing. Their DJs spinning, and some of these players just jam on top of the music.
Right.
Which sometimes that sounds good.
Right.
But over the course of a 4-hour wedding,
Right.
The editing is everything. So that's what makes our hybrid, which we call synergy, really, really pop.
What are the options if someone's looking for hybrid?
Yeah, it's pretty, and that's one of the beautiful things about hybrid is the scalability of it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it can be if you're leaning more towards a DJ, you'd have less live pieces.
Mm-hmm.
If you're leaning more towards a band or an orchestra, you have more. And it's about stage presence, it's about budget, it's about you know, the philosophically if someone is into live music or not.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, the I keep saying game changer. Edit that shit out. Okay. I think the differentiator is the singers. Really, having singers as part of a hybrid is what separates the good from the great.
I think that perfectly makes sense because if you think about it, DJs are amazing on their own, but you don't get that live feeling with the DJ.
Right.
But when you add vocals,
Mm-hmm.
you're seeing the music come to life in a different way, and then they can interact with the audience in a different way.
Totally. You know, and the thing is, I think people are used to seeing, you know, great electric violinists or great saxophonists. You can go to clubs, you can go to lounges, you can see that. But at a wedding, to be able to do both with the vocals and the track is I think more in tunes of what
And
they
is
want.
that more of a cost-effective way for people to have that combo?
It is, and that's another reason for its popularity. You know, the hybrid comes in a little bit less than our bands, so it gives people an option to work with us that normally, you know, might be priced out of the bands. Yeah.
That makes total sense. What do you need from couples when they're coming to you? Like, say they do have some budgetary restrictions, and you know, I hate using the word budget, but it's something that's like so
reality.
important in this. So what do you need from couples when they're kind of trying to make sure that things are personal, that things really get translated to you in the way that they're envisioning?
I think they have to trust us to open up to us. That's the most. So if we can gain their trust, and then they could be honest about what their priorities are. So is their priority, you know, the look and feel? Is it more about the music? Is it more about the budget? You know, where their priorities are? But more than anything, really, it's musically. If I can get out of them in advance where they live on the spectrum musically, then we could recommend something that can fit any budget, really, you know. So I think that's the most important thing. And a lot of people have trouble verbalizing what they like or what they're into. Oh, we love all music. But we know the right questions to ask. You know, we really do. We're doing this so long. Even for people that are hesitant, we can get the answers out of them.
Do you ever just like look at someone's Spotify history and like figure out what they've listened to?
You know, the best advice I always give them, and that's the first thing I tell every one of single of our clients, I was like, when you're making a list for your wedding, don't make a wedding list. Just make me a music list.
Right.
Tell me who you like. What's the last show you went to? Do you go together? Are as a couple, do you agree on music?
Right.
Right? I mean, he's into rock, she's into rap. Like what, you know, do you agree? Are you totally aligned? If not, then we'll have to balance that out.
Right.
But, you know, like finding out how couples, you know, met and where they met, you know, to try to get into their background a little bit always helps too.
Totally.
Yep.
And, you know, how through that process, how can couples balance we love this music, we love that music, but we also know it's a wedding and we want people to be dancing?
You got to know your audience, right? So knowing who's going to be there and knowing what they're like. And and I tell people this all the time. You may love this. You know, you have 250 guests. So there's 248 other people. Do they love what you love? So we try to give people that sort of reality check. Like I say, taking one for the team. You might love Metallica, but is everybody else really going to want Metallica
It's
at
true.
this party? Right.
It's true. And what about it for the couples that, you know, really want something extra? Dancers, live violinists, the LED drums. What are some creative entertainment upgrades that you guys offer?
All right. So I think the buzzword of the day and the buzzword of the industry lately is the word immersive. Okay. So immersive, it used to be experiential.
Yep.
Now it's immersive.
I love immersive.
Jazz hands. Because immersive in our world just means, okay, now we're taking another layer of entertainment beyond just the music. Okay. And two of the things that we love doing and we've been doing quite a bit of in the last 3 or 4 years are theatrical performances straight out of Broadway. So when we have, especially being here in New York, there are so many brides in New York or people that know we're from New York and that really want to explore the theatrical side of things, whether it's just a little touch during dinner or whether it's, a full-blown show. So that side of our company right now with our performances And Josh Leone, if you don't know him, Josh is not only the producer that you see on events at these weddings, but he's our choreographer too, and he's a beast.
Oh, wow.
And he's literally at rehearsals right now. And so the theatrics is a big part of it. You know, it's ripping shows right off of Broadway, or even creating custom shows that reflect more who the bride and groom are. And then there's like other fun things to do that you know, I think sets us apart too. I mean, having a gospel choir come out during a recessional song is amazing. You know, having other artists that are really, really particular, unique artists that come to the stage that are visual. You know, that just bring another sense to it is super fun. Yeah.
That's awesome. Can you talk about any of those like crazy moments with like celebrity high-end clients that like you may just want to brag about a little?
Let's see, NDA. No. All right, how about this? A few years ago, we did Kevin Love and Kate Bach. He's an NBA All-Star. She's a supermodel. We did their wedding at the New York Public Library. Kevin chose a song, and I remember sitting in a car with him and talking about this. He chose a song, "I Choose You." Shoot, I got to remember who the artist is. I'll think about it. But beautiful song, "I Choose You." And I said to him, and this is, if you've been to the library, the acoustics in the library in Astor Hall are fantastic, and it's just a marble room, and it's glorious, and everybody loves that space. I said, what if we brought in a children's choir to sing that song, surprise Kate, surprise everybody at that moment. So when we start playing that song with strings and some of the musicians, you know, 15 kids come to sing the chorus of that song, and it stole the show.
Where'd you find the kids?
We work with a choir director who's based out of the Bronx, at a school of kids that are super, super gifted.
Amazing.
And yeah, it's really so that was a good one, and I think that was I think that the planner and the clients, and I think the takeaway from that party, and that party had everybody. I mean, LeBron was there. I mean, geez, there were so many athletes there, but so many other stars. Adele was there.
Dreams.
And they were just like enamored with the choir. So that was a home run.
I love moments like that. And you know, as you create these moments, how do you tie in to the other special moments throughout the night? The first dances, the grand entrances, cake cutting, and all that kind of key moments.
It is really like a finely produced show. I mean, working out a run of show, obviously with what we do with our planners all the time, and being able to, you know, script those moments is big. You know, and being able to be on site and rehearse and make sure that we're timed out, and it really is a one-time only, you know, get it right the first time kind of show.
Right.
You don't get a chance to redo.
Absolutely.
So
you can't. I mean, you can have a second wedding, but we hope you don't have a second wedding.
Can you imagine stopping a wedding, stopping all the guests, and going, "Hey guys, we're gonna do that again.
We're just
gonna go to the top." Can you imagine that?
Over.
Can you imagine if we had that ability? Yeah,
That'd be kind of crazy.
So if you really think about it, you know, beyond any other, you know, TV show or other kind of productions, wedding and event productions where we have all these incredibly produced acts have to get it right the first time.
Absolutely. And I think that's some of the hardest steps in being a planner and working in events, is that this is your one shot.
That's it.
There's no do-over.
Yep.
So while we're talking about the lack of do-overs, do you have any takes the cake moments of wildest, unforgettable? Talk to me.
I mean, you mean like, there's so many, honestly. I some things that jump out at me. I brought up that Egypt wedding like a year ago, and it's fresh on my mind. You know, I'm not going to go too far back, 30 years.
No, I want to know the things where things went south.
You want to know bad?
Oh, I want crazy, wild, awful. You could give me good if you want to.
We had an event. I'm not going to name names. We had an event on Governor's Island about 2 years ago. It was a wedding. It was the storm of the century. It wasn't like Superstorm Sandy that everyone knows about that a bunch of years ago. But it was such a disaster with the water and the rain that my DJ at that party was standing on a case spinning while there was a foot of water underneath him. I mean, all the cables were out. Things were shorting.
Oh my God.
It was, you know, it came off. You know, like everything, the client, the wedding happened and it came off. But it was one of the most unsafe, insanely produced, and kudos to the team that got it done too.
Right.
But honestly, it was nerve-wracking and we were miserable.
It's terrifying.
It was terrifying. And it was dangerous, and it was uncomfortable, and it was, but it also gets to the point where sometimes when things go wrong, it makes things come together that much better.
Yeah.
Like, when you lose power, I mean, everyone's been to a party. We lost power we were up in Cape Cod last week. Went out for like 5 or 7 minutes. You know what 5 or 7 minutes of no power is like in the middle of a party?
Oh,
it's
it's
an
awful.
eternity.
It's
That's an
awful.
eternity. I mean, 5 seconds is an eternity. 5 minutes. I mean, the band is out there playing acoustic, clapping their hands,
Yep.
making sure everybody has fun. But like, we're like, what happened?
Yep.
That was also during a rainstorm. So it's been raining a lot these weekends. Have you noticed?
So much
know.
rain.
It's been bad.
Like since mid-April, it
Yeah.
has not
The
stopped.
Northeast has been cursed on Saturdays lately.
Awful.
I know.
Every weekend it's been raining.
Yeah.
We just had a wedding this past weekend out in Long Island where it was 100% raining at the start of ceremony time. We set up inside. Bride started crying because she was so upset that we had to do this. The view was the water
Yeah, of course.
outside.
Yeah.
At that 5 minutes before the ceremony started,
Mm-hmm.
we were able to move everything outside and got her married outside. Came back in right after and it like downpoured.
Oh. Well, all right.
But this is what we're facing with all this rain.
That's it.
It's those we have to be so flexible with weather because
Yeah.
it's so unpredictable right now.
It is.
What challenges have you faced during events besides power? Like obviously power is such a huge thing and for us planners, we need to make sure that we have the proper generators ready for you and
Sure.
that power is provided and that we're working with our venues to make sure you guys are safe. But what other challenges have you guys faced during events?
I think some of the biggest challenge we have is probably on the international side.
Mm-hmm.
When we travel, when we're traveling internationally, look, it used to be a piece of cake. We would even, fly in and perform on the same day.
Mm-hmm.
But with the way airports are and travel right now, it's a disaster.
Right.
Imagine if we have flights booked out of Newark right now.
Oh my God.
You couldn't even go. No, so I think, and then also, the language barriers, and
Right.
the expectations. We have a very, very demanding clientele, and rightfully so. They're spending a lot of money for what they do, and they want everything to be perfect. But when you fly international, even if they are U.S.-based clients, they expect the same level of service
Right.
internationally. Sometimes they're like, you're third world. I mean, you're in the middle of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
And so we've had, some real tough times, being on site without, certain accoutrement that we're expecting here.
I get that. It's hard when you're traveling internationally because, especially in New York when we're in an environment where people get what we do.
Right.
And the level that we do it at.
That's right.
But the second you leave New York, even in other parts of the country, it's
That's
that way.
true.
People don't move at New York speed. People
that is-
just say, oh,
you
yeah, we'll
nailed
get
it.
it to you.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Mhm.
it's been 30 minutes. Where is it? Like, enough.
Yeah.
So I think it's even hard, I find, in the US because people in other parts of the country
Yeah.
don't understand that time is of the essence.
That's true.
What's something that clients should know about behind the scenes for this whole process?
I mean, behind the scenes, there's a team. I mean, there's so many people, at least for us, the way we work, right? So the first thing when clients book with us, they're going to meet with Alana. Alana handles a lot of our details.
Mm-hmm.
She's going to set them up in our portal where they get to go, into a hub that's online that we set up for them.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to meet with our music director. They're going to meet with their band leader. They're going to meet with our stylist. So
Mm-hmm.
there is a lot of this work that happens behind the scenes. So we try to give them as much information up front. We try to be very transparent. These are our expectations of you. We show you what they are. We give you deadlines, but we give them access behind the velvet rope. So we want them to see what's going on behind there. So that's why we built this cabaret space. This was one of the reasons so they can come and hear music, see it live, be a part of the music planning process in person.
And what about if they want like a custom song for their first dance or something?
Been there, done that, and it's great. Yeah, we encourage it.
Can they practice with the band?
100%. Like where we're sitting right now, we have rolled up this carpet. We have had our band play right here, and we've had a bride and groom practice their first dance and time it out with the actual music and the performers that are going to be at their wedding. And
That's so special.
It is. But you know what? It gives the band a good chance for them to meet with the bride and groom to be able to kind of vibe. And so then when they know when they show up, they're going to be high-fiving and just ready to rock. But it also for the bride and groom, for them to feel confident. And to me, confidence means they're comfortable.
For sure. Because a lot of times the bride and groom don't get to meet all the members of the band until they're on the dance
That's
floor
right.
dancing.
Yeah, hi, nice to meet you.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's kind of hard. If you don't know
is.
them, you can't have those jokes. You can't
That's
give
right.
those winks the same way. Like
Meet
it's
mom
just
and
different.
dad. See who's
Yes,
behind
exactly.
who's behind directing behind the scenes on that front.
Right,
Yeah.
right. What are some of the trends that you're seeing in entertainment right now?
I think that from a music standpoint, what we're seeing in terms of trends are people are staying away. Most of our brides and grooms are staying away from a lot of the played out radio pop classics. I call them the TikTok songs, right? So you think TikTok songs are like, okay, hey, this is the new and trendy thing. It actually means they're kind of played out. That means they hear them so often.
That's true.
So they're trying to stay. We're seeing them stay away from that and asking us, hey, can we avoid that in our do not playlist?
Right.
Right.
I guess that's a good thing, though.
Yeah.
Because they're being so overplayed.
Yeah. I mean, we want their parties and their celebrations to be unique. It doesn't have to be like everybody else.
Right. How has technology played a role in the way that your performers are able to perform?
Yeah. Well, number one, the hybrid has probably seen the most, advancement when it comes to like the editing of tracks, and we could literally do that on the fly now. We can literally do that at an event right now where we used to take us a week to do something in the studio. So that's pretty.
And by that, you mean like if they want to play a particular song, you can edit the track to, if they have.
You want a Beyonce song at your wedding? We never discussed it before. You just come up and say, hey, Darren, can we do this Beyonce song today? We can, on the fly, take Beyonce's voice off of Beyonce's track, play it, and have the singer sing it and do it on the fly. It's absolutely incredible. Yeah. Couldn't do it. That would take a week worth of editing back
That's
in the day.
unreal.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So the other thing was also AI. So a lot of things that we're doing now to present clients with totally custom ideas, we are developing the images and the video through AI and giving them an actual sample of some of the things that we've created out of thin air. So we can show them what it's like. Maybe it's an outfit or literally what an entire performance might look like.
That's amazing.
It's pretty cool.
AI is really changing the world.
Yeah. And we're the first to say, hey, this is AI. Because you can't fake it.
Right.
But we're telling clients, hey, we're about to do something custom for you. They're like, well, what's it going to look like?
Right.
And we show them.
Right. And the thing about using AI in those situations is we want to show you a potential for what it could look like without spending 3 weeks of our time creating that potential in a different program where you're really coming to the detail to finalize.
Yeah. And show them what it looks like in the space. If we're at the library and performing, they're like, hey, what is it going to look like having 12 violinists lined up on that step? Like, let us show you.
Yes, it's awesome. And, as AI is coming into play more and more, what are you seeing for the future of live entertainment and weddings and events?
All right, well, I'm going to see a return to some things that are actually more classic.
Ooh,
I think everything is full circle. I think trying to get too technology, too futuristic, everything comes back to, we're seeing that in people's music selection. We're seeing that in people's, love of some of the classics, whether they want to do something that's more Gatsby or, turn of the century. Remember when Bridgerton came out a few years ago? Everyone was like, that's going to an extreme. But still, I still think there's always going to be a desire to have something that feels grounded and old and classic.
Are the bands themselves changing because of that?
Well, I think you have to be able to roll in both. You got to be able to reach into your pocket for some of those classics, but you got to stay current too.
Right.
And I think that's just all figuring it out and talking to every client individually. You can't assume. We're not imposing our will onto our clients. We're trying to understand what they want and delivering on that. So if we find out they're lean old versus they lean contemporary, then we skew our performance that way.
Makes total sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so lightning round, big questions.
Yep.
Favorite first dance song?
I'm gonna go with what I love the classics. I'm gonna go with Etta James, At Last.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
I love that one.
Okay.
Most requested song at weddings?
Still, and I'm not gonna say it's my favorite, but I think most requested could be something like Mr. Brightside. Still,
every single wedding.
I'm hoping it dies soon. Although I love it, it's still good. Don't anyone write me letters, but it can go.
But every time it's played,
it rocks.
Everyone's dancing.
Well, and I don't want to say this because I don't even want this to be on the podcast and live in perpetuity. But right now, even Pink Pony Club is huge.
So big.
But I can't see that lasting much longer.
No, I can't either. I would agree. A song that you wish couples would request more often?
Can I give a genre? I want more yacht rock.
Ooh, yacht rock.
Yacht rock is on fire right now.
Can you like explain that to our listeners
I mean,
who may not know what that means?
It's like the Doobie Brothers and, Michael McDonald.
Yes.
And it's feel-good music from like the 70s and 80s. Everybody knows every song. They know every single word to those songs. And it makes people feel good. And despite whatever age you are, I don't care if you're 25 or 65, everybody knows the words of that.
Do you feel like people are kind of more understanding now of the songs that they like and how to explain what they want than they were before?
Yeah, I mean, because all I got to do is just make a Spotify list and just go through it with us. So,
Right.
And then just you delete the ones they don't want.
Right,
So
right.
Yeah.
Okay, biggest don't when it comes to wedding entertainment.
Don't make us play Pitbull or Bruno Mars.
Oops.
There you go. I said it.
What is your personal favorite performance moment?
Honestly, the first time I'm going to say it, when I created the hybrid, when I stumbled upon the hybrid 33 years ago, it was like a light bulb. It was like an epiphany. I remember the song. I remember where we were.
Tell me, what was the song?
It was actually a Gloria Estefan song.
Nice.
Because it was the perfect crossover. I said it all happened out of Latin music, but it was built out of that, and I said this has got to be the future of the whole industry. It was like this is gonna be incredible, and that's what it was. I remember that day the hybrid was born.
It's kind of crazy to think about that moment and then to see where the industry is now.
I know. I wish I could have cashed in on that in some. I wish
Well, if you did, you
imagine if
wouldn't
all
have
these
this
other companies that were
company.
paying me a percentage just for the idea.
Yeah, but then you wouldn't have
I know
where we are now.
I know it's okay.
You wouldn't be sitting here in the cabaret.
Yes.
Well, Darren, thank you so much for having us.
This is so much
This has
fun.
been so wonderful to hear more about what you do here at On the Move. And it's been awesome to hear you talk more about your expertise and how our listeners can then come to their entertainment companies and say, hey, Darren at On the Move's doing this.
Yep.
Like, let's get this in
Copy
South
my
Carolina.
ideas. It's fine. Copy
No,
away.
let's get On the Move in South Carolina, or let's get On the Move in Chicago. Like, we
Yeah.
have so many other locations
Yeah.
in our company that it's so nice that everyone
Yeah.
can hear more about you.
Let's do it.
Well, where can our listeners find you and learn more about On the Move?
All right. So obviously our website is a good source. So it's onthemove.com. Our Insta is a great source too, and it's On the Move Events. I think those two places you could fish around and have a blast for a week.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, everyone. And stay tuned for part 3 of our New York City podcast.